Hey guys, today I'm going to give you some advice for critiquing other people's work. Now, since I'm a designer, this is mostly going to be design related, but I think that the skill of critiquing people's work and also knowing how to take critique yourself is a really important one, and it can come in handy in lots of different jobs, so hopefully you find this useful. In design school, there are a lot of critique sessions where you'll show your work and fellow students will give you feedback on it, and then you'll do the same for them. Unfortunately, in the first few years of design school, in my experience anyway, people feel a bit awkward about critiquing something that they know the other person has worked really hard on, and they sort of sit back and don't say much, and you get feedback that's not incredibly useful, like, "It looks great." So I guess my first point is that you should not feel awkward about critiquing. It's part of the process, it's part of being a designer, and it's a really important part of being a designer actually. Being critiqued can be really hard at first, especially when you're a student and you've been spending all day and night on a project, only to have a critique session and a fellow student points out something that's not very good about it. It can be hard not to take that personally because you put your heart and soul into the project. But you really have to remember that they're not saying you're bad or that you're a bad designer. They're simply pointing out something in your project that maybe you need to work on a little bit more, or perhaps that you've overlooked. Also remember that it's a really good thing to hear that in a critique when you've still got time to work on it and improve it, rather than getting that feedback on your mark sheet when you've already handed in the assignment. So whatever you do, do not take critiques personally. You just need to get over it, to be honest. It's just a part of being a designer, it's a part of the design process, and the faster you get used to it, the better. As I said at the start, giving critiques is also a really important part of the process, so make sure you get involved in critique sessions, and hopefully that will encourage your fellow students to do the same, and then you'll all benefit from it. At first, when you're still tuning your design eye and still learning, it might be hard to think of things to say during a critique, but there's a few questions you can ask yourself to help out with that. Like, does it fit the brief? Does it convey the right message? Think about the hierarchy of the piece. Does it seem like things flow in the right order? Does anything feel a little bit awkward or slightly out of place? Like, does anything catch your eye in a bad way? Is there a nice balance of space? Does it give your eye room to breathe as you're looking at the page? If there's anything that comes to mind when you think about those things that maybe you would do a bit differently if it was your piece, then that's the thing you should be saying in the critique. When you're critiquing someone's work, it's really important to try and be constructive. So if you don't like something, don't just say you don't like it, try and explain why you don't like it. You're not expected to give a solution to the problem, and I think that's something that stops people from speaking up a lot of the time, but it is really important just to try and articulate why you think something's not working quite right, and that will be helpful. It's also really good to force yourself to try and explain things like that because it'll help you when you're talking about your own work. Lastly, I'll just say that remember, a critique is meant to be more of a discussion, so you're not expected to just sit there quietly while everyone else talks about your work. It is really important to ask them questions about their feedback so that you can make sure you understand it and just get a discussion going. You also don't have to make every single change that is suggested, because a lot of the times it does come down to personal preference, but it's really important just to think about what people have said and the reasons why they've said that, and just take that on board when you're looking at improving your piece. Really, you just have to make sure you're getting involved in critiques because it's an awesome way to learn from other designers. With my team at work, we critique each other's designs all the time and have discussions and debates about certain bits, and it's really valuable. So I really hope this video has given you a few tips so you can start giving valuable critiques to other people and encouraging them to do the same thing for you. But if there's anything I didn't cover, or if there's anything you've got questions about, then please feel free to leave them down below in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful, or if you just enjoyed watching it, I guess, and I'll see you next week. Bye!